Here we have a project on UDK where I've integrated the Oculus DK2 and Razer Hydras. Back then there was a specific Oculus branch of UDK that would get put out. But the problem with this branch was it would indiscriminately control all cameras and lock them into a world space rotation. So it was actually pretty limited what you could use it for. So I just used UScript and DLL bind and did it over in main branch UDK. Here we have another project that's more specifically about the Razer Hydras. So you can see there I've given it an aiming cursor for each controller and made it sort of the average of them sort of governs your view rotation. So similar to Metroid Prime 3, but with 2 remotes. All right, here we have a later project in UE4 where I've done similar to before with the Oculus DK2 and Razer Hydras, except I'm not having to integrate the DK2 manually now. So here we have a VR climbing scenario. I believe I'm actually using physics simulated arms for this. Yeah. So the purpose of that was just the inbuilt collision. So the way that works is there's a physics constraint constrained to the hand, and then the position of the constraint is moved from the data from the controllers. In this project, climbing isn't easy per se, but it's not designed to be easy. We'll see a better climbing system coming up soon. Here we have a setup with portals, getting them to render correctly stereoscopically. So let's get the headset on and take a look. Definitely having some trouble at this point. I've got some issues with the transform being incorrect, and there also being a 1-frame delay. Here we have a lot of improvement, but there's still an issue I was having in the way that the late update was being processed as far as that interacted with my method of getting the screen rendered onto the portal surface. Unfortunately, I got to a point where this would have, at the time, required an engine modification, so it didn't advance beyond there. Here we see it's the advanced movement project again, just running around in VR. Haven't done really any animation or polish work, just quick test to see what it looks like. Essentially, I have the character in what was called spider physics, which is similar to custom gravity, but it's just always using the inverse floor normal instead of a gravity vector. Here we have a more polished climbing implementation from much later using the HTC Vive. With arms only mantling up on, well, nearly anything is an implementation challenge. You'd essentially want a, doing it now, I'd have it trigger a custom ability that interpolated the capsule position up over the edge once you got to the top. But I guess that would depend on if you were making a game designed around frustration or not. Some of those seem to be popular now. Here we have the ice ball ability. Here we have a setup with some gun experiments. So this is back to using physics simulated arms, and that's how the recoil is handled by applying a force and a torque. I believe our view is from the left eye here. But you can still see I've set up the scope optics. A lot of jittering. Using physics sim definitely would take a lot of polish work before you would have anything you'd want to release. Still pretty cool though. You can see another issue there is the character motion. I'd probably want to take the same movement delta from the character and just automatically apply that to anything held to avoid the constraints getting stretched out. Here we go. Here we have a project from a little bit later where I've set up a test level. This is an animated arm with a simulated item, and a couple of the issues from the last setup have persisted, but overall it's better in general, in my opinion. So I've done highlights on, well, outlines on interactable objects. We essentially have a rock wall here. can see the way I've designed the level here, I've just tried to circumvent the mantling up issue. You know, why waste time solving a problem when you can just design the level in a way where you don't have it to begin with. Here we are still in the Arctic Ocean level, but we're going to show off the fireball variant of the mechanic we saw earlier. So I was also doing experiments with gesture recognition on the motion control at the time.